So I lost a big chunk of footage for this video, so hopefully I have enough to actually piece through. I missed the intro, and basically I just bought a cheap impact wrench from Shars. I've had good luck with their other machine tools like a lathe chuck and some other indicators and stuff. They haven't been too bad. Their hand tool section looked pretty sketchy, and I was curious how bad or good the tools are. So I was not expecting much out of this impact wrench, and didn't end up getting much. But here's a couple of here's some footage of my testing, and like I said, hopefully there's enough footage to make it make sense.
So, thanks for purchasing our air tools. Please read this instruction manual carefully and thoroughly before operating the tool to do your best jobs. When the tool is seriously damaged or out of life, it should be left in a resource recycling can. Never drop into fire. So, apparently you're not supposed to burn the metal tool, the aluminum. So, that's one of the metal flakes that was inside the housing. Inside of here looks rough, but it's not it's a pretty smooth finish actually, so that's not too bad. But here, yeah, metal flakes from manufacturing just crammed right into the gasket. So, and all this schmoo and dirt down in the vents here. The outside looked nice and polished, but the inside's a little rough. Look at that gouge. That's pretty impressive. And a matching one on the other side. So, alright, well, I'll get this back together again and see how it goes. Just realized something for losing, what might be making it lose so much power. These vents to hold the vanes out are rather large, and since the vanes don't fit well in the rotor, since they're all loose, where's that extra air going to go? It's just going to go up and by the vane and out. So we do need some there to push them out against the outside, but it might make it work better if we shrink these guys here, if we shrink them. So I might give that a try later. So for my completely unscientific torque test, I'm going to be using these gigantic lag bolts that I have no other use for. So I'm going to screw them into the end here. Got one hole drilled in each end. I'm going to do one with the Shars impact wrench, the pneumatic one, and the other one I'm going to do with my Ryobi battery operated impact wrench, which I know is slightly underpowered but handy, and I want to see if the Shars one is better. Somehow I suspect that Ryobi is going to actually have more power, which is kind of sad. But let's get this hooked up and give it a try. Now that the compressor is filled back up, I'm going to see if I can get this guy to go in anymore. So we've stalled. Alright, let's measure them first. So my rather crappy Ryobi brought in just under or just over 6 inches sticking out. So let's see, on this side we have just under 8 inches. So now let's see if the Ryobi can send in this side anymore as a test to make sure that this side isn't harder for some reason. Despite its shiny looks and all metal construction, it can't out-torque the crappy Ryobi impact driver. So, oh well. I was hoping this wouldn't be as bad as it is. Hoping it would be useful for doing lighter duty stuff. But really, the amount of torque this thing has, you might as well just use a wrench unless you're just doing things for speed. Anyways, yeah, and then get one of these. I guess this is cheaper, but you don't, with the Ryobi, you don't need a cord. Yeah. So, they also put their sticker on crooked. So, yeah, not worth the money. But let's see. I'm going to see if I can do some modifications to this and see if I'll get it to have more torque. So, this is going to be a continuation of the Schar's impact wrench review. I have this impact wrench, was my dad's old one. It's Sioux City Tools Inc. Made in USA, and it had a problem with it. It wouldn't go in reverse very well. So I think I figured out what was wrong with it. I actually have had this apart already. But I'm going to take it apart and show you the insides and compare that to the Schar's tool one. So let's get into it. Out. They lock in and it rotates and then loses speed and drops back in. So that's how the hammering works on this guy. Dingus end. This one's taken a lot of hammering over the years. Let me focus. This has some miles on it, but its hammers are like this would be the anvil, I guess, is in pretty much perfect shape. And these guys are in, no real signs of wear. So this is it's amazing how much hammering this thing has done. Like I said, my dad retired this because it seemed like it lost power in reverse. So to get this apart, I need to thump this guy. There's no way of pulling it really. So if I just thump it on the edge there, sends that out, do it again, and now you can see the vane motor. Now, like I said, it didn't go in reverse before, and I'm pretty sure it was because this pin was in backwards or not installed correctly. This drops into this hole here and acts as a detent for the forward reverse button. Let me focus that. So this is a forward reverse spool. Here it switches back and forth, and that pin acts as a detent. If you leave this pin out, or you put it in the wrong way around, or the spring upside down, air leaks out through the hole where that pin goes and messes up the detent. So now I need to get the rest of this inside out, and it's stuck. So I'm going to do this. And I'll be back. I need to put this in the vise and pull it out. This back piece is nicely ground. You can see some marks where the veins went around, but really there's no ridge. So, yeah, there's a dent there. I don't know what that was from. Could have been a piece of shmoo the last time it got bolted together. Same with this guy here. They're nice surfaces. Now, these edges here are actually pretty sharp. They don't seem like they've been deburred or they've worn a burr, depending on which came first, the chicken or the egg. So I did cut myself on them the last time I took it apart, so I'm going to try not to do that again. But this is a really pretty nice part, nicely ground, good sharp edge, solid. Surprised about the burrs, but yeah. So here's the Schar's tool. At first glance, it doesn't look too bad here for the vein mode. It's actually got 6 veins instead of 4, but the veins themselves, they have a hot dog down a hallway fit into those slots. Let's see if you guys can see that. Let me get this out. So, veins themselves are similarly sized. Just seem like they have an excessive amount of slop in there. Suppose I should find my feeler gauges and actually measure that if anybody actually cares, but compare that to this guy here. There's some slop in there, but maybe not. It's definitely tighter than the other ones. This. See how much cruder these channels are. Those are what let the air in behind the veins to let it come out. And this guy has a hole that goes probably, it's cross drilled from there through, from there into there. So that's a lot harder to do than to just put a little slot. But the little slot means that it leaks more air. And this guy's got grooves in it already, and it's just not nearly as precise of a part as this guy. Let's see. Hammers actually seem fairly similar in weight. I mean, without a scale, I can't tell much difference. Obviously, different design. This guy has 2 things that fly out. This guy's a different. This guy rotates around, locks in, and releases somehow. Locks in. So, this hammer or anvil is, let's see if I can get this to focus. This one from the Schar's tool is definitely crustier. There's just big rough machining marks. Not that it really matters on there, but this is a little bit rough, but a lot smoother. Sioux City one also has actually roller bearings on the inside. If you can see that there's a thrust bearing and then a regular bearing. Schar's just has a bushing. Not that you're ever going to wear it out because the Schar's tool's crap, so you're not going to wear it out anyways. Let's see, what else is different? So I decided to take it all the way apart to show you what I meant by this pin. So this pin goes through here and down through a hole in the inside. Let's see. So this pin goes through and contacts this spool to act as a detent. Now if that pin is missing, air just leaks out through that spool right into this chamber, which happens to be, I believe, hooked right up to the exhaust port. So it just spews right back out and doesn't actually go through the gun. So that's important to get back in place in the right orientation. Being an idiot, when I took it apart, I messed up this the last time too. I forgot which way this piece goes back in, whether it's that way or that way. Looks pretty much the same except for that little doohickey. But I'm going to do some head scratching and see if I can remember which direction this goes back together. Oh, yeah, and here's the rotor. So there's some slop in those veins, but not that much. So that's more than I remembered, but let's see. These guys here. Oh yeah, that's significantly more. So I'll get these back together and I'll do that torque test. Just noticing this as I was going to put it together. So this isn't actually all that well made either. This bore for the bearing is machined here. On this side, if you hear that, it's hard for you to see, but that's just plain casting. You can see this ends there. So it's smooth casting. So their casting was off, so this only got machined partway around. So the back bearing isn't being indexed right. So these two holes are where the air comes through for forward and reverse. So forward is that side and reverse is that side, or vice versa. And I think, unless I'm crazy, it's biased slightly towards one direction, probably reverse. It's done by these holes being offset. It's hard to tell, but it looks like to me that is square. That's turning the tool a little bit. I could just be crazy. Without measuring it, it's hard to know. But I think it is biased slightly to one side. So I'll get this thing back together again. So I've got the Shars impact one. I'm going to see how far in I can get this lag bolt. And then I'll hook on the Sioux Tools one and see if it'll set it in even further. Helps me go the right direction. So the Shars maxed out. I'm going to see if this one will go any further. So this has been tightened with the Sioux City one. I'm going to see if it'll loosen up with the Shars. So the Shars gun did better that round than what I thought it was going to. The past test I did against the Ryobi impact, it really seemed to be lacking power, just farting and not really making any progress. But I don't know if there was a leak in here or something put together wrong, but now it seems to be better. It's still by no means a great product. Certainly would recommend getting something better. I'll take this up to the shop and maybe try it out. Actually removing some bolts and not just doing the lags to see how it holds up. and also compare it to the Ingersoll Rand one that we have up at my dad's shop, which is a pretty nice impact wrench. Yeah. So pretty crappy inside, but surprisingly, I don't know why it seems to have improved itself. I did try to clean out the passages in the back here, because the airflow isn't great. I think I showed that earlier. It has to go up and around and back in again, and I tried to clean the schmoo out of those passages and clean up the edges of the gaskets, and maybe that made a big difference. It seems like it's going better than what it was before. So, not very confidence inspiring for other Char's tools, but like I said, I've had good luck with their machine tools, so I'll probably continue to buy their machine tools. Certainly not another hand tool, unless somebody wants to pay me to, unless viewers really want to see other hand tools from them, and help contribute to the cost of buying crappy tools from Char's to see how bad they really are. Then I might review another one, but I'm not going to spend my own money on another one of these.